Sports. I like sports. Steve.
Yes.
Sports!
They're great.
I love them, but I hate trying to get a fantasy league together. You know, you try and get your friends together, and out of nowhere, Billy's wife says he can't be in the fantasy league anymore. Thanks, Billy's wife.
I don't even have any friends, Colin.
So this is good. This is actually a prime opportunity for you because you can go to DraftKings.com. It's a plethora of friends, a world of friends, ready to play one-day fantasy leagues with you at DraftKings.com. That's right, you can play with NBA, NFL. If you like the PGA, they got that. Soccer, or football as they call it in Paris, it's covered. That's right, go to DraftKings.com, play one day, and win real cash prizes. That's DraftKings.com. This week on the PRESSURECAST, Sony is helping out with Shenmue 3. Steven Elop is leaving Microsoft, and all the fallout of E3 is covered. Everything happening in the world of video games is here, now, on the PRESSURECAST. Fresh. Live from the 52nd floor of VideoGamesAreDumb.com Industries, it's the 83rd episode of the PRESSURECAST, VideoGamesAreDumb.com's weekly news panic that posts every single Monday on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, TuneIn Radio, and America's longest running independent newspaper at ShepherdExpress.com. My name is Colin Tanner with 2 coffees. Yes, I still drink 2 coffees. This is true. E3 is over. We're cashing in our hype chips, and across from me, Steve Cuff.
What?
Yeah.
Did you just double my last name? Is that...
I figured your nickname is your name.
Fair enough.
Your full name. Not your full name, but your...
Steve Cuff.
Yes. Live at the scene. Wow, my God. E3, it happened. We were there, man. Well, we weren't there.
No.
But we saw it. From a screen.
We were here and we were watching it, and then we talked about it a lot.
Yes, we did. And the best thing about this episode is we don't have to talk about the PC conference.
Oh, thank God.
You know,
that was my Vietnam, man.
That really was. I honestly thought about, like, maybe we should talk about the best and worst of E3. But, hey, I'm already writing an article on that. And I figured, like, why on earth should I beat up on the PC press conference twice in a week? Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, dealing with my post-E3 hangover.
The post-E3 stress disorder?
Yeah, post-E3 stress disorder.
Oh my God, I thought they were announcing a new BioShock and then they did not. My feelings.
That's how a lot of Nintendo fans feel, I guess. But you know what? We literally, I think if you break it down, there was somewhere in the range of over 5 hours of podcast content. So if you're like saying, oh man, are you going to be covering this, that, or the other from E3? No, go back and listen to it. Everything was covered. Everything. And if it
Absolutely everything.
If it wasn't, it's getting covered right now. And you might be saying, well, you guys are starting off with the earth-shattering stories. This is where we talk about the big stories. Guess what? We covered them at E3. So we are now going to be talking about
the Shenmue 3 stories of the week.
That's right. Hey, it's my fucking show. I've been waiting for Shenmue 3 since 2001. I remember, I don't want to talk too much about this, but I remember when G4.TV talked about Shenmue 3. I remember when there were surfaced reports in 2003, 2005, Shenmue Dojo talking about an animated film. I can tell you, I can chronicle to you the events of Shenmue 3, but we're not here to talk about the past, baby. The past is behind us. We are in the Shenmue train. We are driving, maybe it's the boat, because that's how he gets to China. Toot, toot, we're getting there right now.
The spirit of Dusty Roads there in you for a second.
Yeah, I know. Let me tell you something, baby. I know a lot.
Hard Times is waiting 10 years for a Shenmue sequel.
Hard Times is when you've been spending all your money giving Sega, and they tell you, they give you a Dreamcast, and they kick you in the butt. That's immeasurable, my feelings on Shenmue. I will still do a video. Yeah, I probably would have gotten more views if I did it earlier, but I really am trying to articulate my feelings because everyone that talks about Shenmue 3 is missing the point. And we'll talk about that at some other point. I want to talk about what's going on today, though. Sony, according to Shuhei Yoshida, is apparently helping to fund Shenmue 3. So, kids, let me break it down for you. Steve is well aware of this, I'm sure. Kickstarter. We're looking for $800,000 to make a movie. Movies don't cost $800,000. No. And then they get God, what's the version of a publisher? A studio?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
Or outside investors.
Outside investors. They are basically, Kickstarter is just kind of like, prove it. Prove anybody cares. Prove that people are willing to spend your money.
Which is, I mean, it's good and bad because I think it can be tough. Like if you don't have a good promotional campaign, like if you're a great filmmaker but you don't know how to deal with human beings, or you're a great video game maker but you don't know how to deal with people or make cool promo videos, then it can be tough.
It can be.
But I mean, it's better than like independent films in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s where it's just like, hey, I have this script and this good idea and I need $500,000. So I'm going to go, ask my mom's friend who's a rich dentist or something like that.
That does sound like there's some few independent films that follow that exact backstory. But here's what we know. Here's an exact quote from Yoshida. And I will not do my Yoshida impersonation. PlayStation Vita. As Adam Boyes said on stage, it's Yu Suzuki-san's company's project. It's not even Sega's project. Sega owns the IP, but Suzuki-san's company has struck a deal with Sega to continue Shenmue development. His company is very small. It's an indie house. Adam's team has been supporting indies in many ways. Promotions, supporting financially. In the same way, he doesn't always use proper English. In the same way, has funding to make a game. There's only one way to support it. For the indie, that's just starting, doing a Kickstarter. Adam's team helps support it once it's funded. Yes, provided that the Kickstarter is successful and it has met its goal. So what he's basically saying is, and yes, it might not be proper English. Sorry, Yoshida is from Japan, believe it or not. Yoshida, does that sound like a good Nebraskan boy's name? Go Huskies.
Nice corn-fed Nebraskan boy.
Is it the wheat husk? Was the Cornhuskers?
Cornhuskers, yeah. University of Nebraska.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Okay, well, and like we said, this is pretty common. But what my question is this, if Sony is going to help fund this project, will they retain an element of ownership? Could they withhold this game? Obviously, it's coming to PC. That's part of the Kickstarter. Could they withhold this game from coming to, say, the Xbox One, the NX, or the Wii U? I mean, is that a potential avenue? Or will it be somewhat like a Blu-ray scenario where, Sony developed the Blu-ray, but they were in collaboration with this other company for funding, and then the whole idea of Kickstarter, who owns something? Oh, my God.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because we don't know the agreement that Sony has with the Shenmue development house. So worst case scenario, they could withhold releasing this on other platforms. Likely scenario is it's a timed exclusive where it comes to PS4 first.
Right.
Best case scenario is a Microsoft buys Minecraft scenario where they're just like, you know what? This is coming other stuff. We'll support it because we're still going to make gobs of money regardless.
I mean, maybe... I hate to say it, guys, but maybe they won't make money. Like, a lot of people will be like, that's the thing. That's what people don't understand about Shenmue. It's not Half-Life 3. It's bigger than that.
I believe the legacy of Shenmue is not making money.
Yeah, or it's literally killing the Dreamcast, which I think is an unfair assessment to simplify it down to a sentence, but it's undeniable how much money they sunk into that project, especially when they needed not to spend money. There's a reason the Dreamcast was very affordable. For me... I would assume that there's two sides to the story. Either Yu Suzuki would be like, hey, you're going to pay me? Sure, I'll keep it off of other consoles. Or, hey, I kind of need money, so I kind of need this to go to other consoles. Like, where that falls, I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. Suzuki's doing fine financially, but to actually make Shenmue 4 and 5, which, yes, would be necessary, there are 16 chapters in Shenmue. This is true. Shenmue 1... took place entirely in Chapter 1. There were supposed to be chapters 2 through 5 were supposed to take place on a boat. That was cut out. Who knows if we'll ever get that. I always thought that was such a cool idea. I have this game that takes place in this open world, and the second one is just on a boat, and there's like a murder on the boat, and you have to solve it. Like, it sounded really cool. It sounded like a real book. There's always that small plot in there. And then there were 4 chapters in Shenmue 2. Shenmue 3, I don't know if it could really encapsulate, whatever the 7 chapters. Let me work that out in my head here. It's 6 chapters? No, 7 chapters. Yeah, 7.
Mm-hmm.
Just go with your gut, Colin. Believe in yourself. Believe in your mathematical self. So I don't know where they're planning to go from there. We do know that Kickstarter, they've added 3 more, or maybe even more, stretch goals. I'm doing great today, by the way. These are their stretch goals right now. The report system will add a depth of story, interactivity, and character development that only Yu Suzuki can bring.
Oh. Well then.
Yeah, what does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
Okay, good. Well, maybe this will help you. The skill tree system will give Ryu a new way to level up and specialize his fighting moveset.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. I mean, that's kind of in line with most modern third-person action games, right?
They're gonna put that's gonna be in the game no matter what. What are you kidding me? You're saying like, oh, yeah, we have this idea for a skill tree system, but that would be too expensive to put in the game unless we get more money. Like, oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that extra $20,000 is really gonna be like, oh, we can do. Now we're gonna create all these new moves for the game. Yeah, right. No way. Next up is, and this is a quote, they literally say next up. Next up is Bashi Village expansion goals. Spend more time exploring Bashi with extra minigames, interactive events, and a new character system. The character perspective system will really let you explore the world of Shenmue through the different character personalities.
Here's an idea.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a little far-fetched. What if Sony struck a deal where it went to all consoles or whatever, but there was a ton of Sony product placement in the new Shenmue game.
So here's where that gets complicated. Shenmue takes place in the 80s.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the thing people don't realize. So
maybe there'll be Betamax players everywhere.
It would have to be a Walkman is basically the best thing he could do, especially for where he is in the story right now, which I will not spoil for you, in case there is an HD 1 and 2 coming out, which Yu Suzuki has said that's really up to Sega. That's just how it's going to be. So, yeah, it takes place in the 80s. So, Sony product placement, I don't know what they'd be advertising besides, like you said, Betamax and Walkmans. Yeah, especially the location. They aren't really by Radio Shack, where they are in the story right now. Gio Corsi, he's the Sony director of third parties, has said, Sony and PlayStation are definitely a partner in this game, and we are going to be partners the whole way through. We're really excited to see what comes out of this in a couple of years. A couple of years sounds still pretty soon. I don't know. Lastly, though, Yoshida did talk about the size of the game, and he said, once it is successful, Sony Computer Entertainment will give a lot of support to the game, including financial support. There's no different than broken English. He basically brings up sports friends and said, we support sports friends.
Yeah.
Didn't that come out on PC eventually?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it came out on Xbox One, though.
No, I mean, I have it for PS3, so I can't really say one way or the other. But I know that in the past, both Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo, too, have supported indie developers, and then those games have found their way onto other things. Like, there's a game that came out on the 3DS and the Wii U called Mutant Mudds.
Oh,
and
certainly.
Variations on that, yeah. And that's on Steam, I believe.
Yeah.
So, it seems just as reasonable that Sony could strike a deal like that, too. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what they do, because this is kind of an unprecedented thing, like the success of this Kickstarter, and then the fact that there's a huge, multinational corporation involved as well. So it's kind of a
more than a
groundbreaking.
More than a few. Because Sega is sort of involved.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they're not. I mean, I guess they still own the IP. No matter what, so they're getting a chunk of change. Yoshida also said, in terms of financial development cost, I think Suzuki is being flexible depending on the funds available. I don't think he's setting this up to be this massive open world game. I think he's waiting for Kickstarter to end and then see, which is fine, because really all the Shenmue games were never they were more known for their detail rather than their massive worlds. I would rather take a smaller world with more detail. I want to go in the convenience store and hold up objects and look at them with my virtual hands.
Yeah, now I haven't played Shenmue 2, but just from playing Shenmue 1, it definitely was, it seems like they focus more on depth as opposed to breadth in the,
Totally.
the world.
The street lights come on at night. It was amazing. People don't realize it. They have no idea.
It's the little things, Colin.
And the last Shenmue story of the week is about Batman. Because it's an important story, so I put it in here, so I'm sorry. So, guys, are you ready for your transformable Batmobile? Are you ready for your new 52 skins? Yeah, you're ready for that? You ready for that steel bookcase? Yeah, you ready for that limited edition DC comic? Yeah, 80-page art book? Yeah, limited edition Batman Arkham Knight has been canceled. 5 days to its release. This was during E3. They canceled it. If you pre-ordered it, you will be getting a refund, and they will also be giving you the new 52 skins. Who does this?
Warner Brothers?
Yeah.
Warner Brothers has a horrendous...
And the Warner sister, too.
Yeah. Thank you. That was good. Good Animaniacs crack. Yeah, I mean, Warner Brothers probably has the worst track record, arguably, when it comes to, like, shitty DLC and stupid pre-order bonuses and garbage like that.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because they kind of fly under the radar because when you hear Warner Brothers, you don't automatically associate them with video game IPs. So I guess if one company is going to do this, I'm not completely surprised, but it is sort of weird that they would cancel it this soon. Like, have they known this for a while? Or, I mentioned this earlier to you, Colin. Did they discover lead-based paint in the transformable Batmobile? Like, what's the... Like, you can't...
If they did, it would only because Batman put it there so that Superman couldn't look into it. I mean, that's really... He's pretty smart when he comes to that. So check out Batman versus Superman next summer. No, but honestly, they knew what was going on. They probably knew about it for a while, and they said it during E3. Layoffs happen during E3. This is what happens. Basically, the institutions of a company actually are restructured during E3 because you're too busy looking at the pretty graphics and you don't notice that stuff is. It's kind of like whenever and this is not a conspiracy theory, but governments around the world, when some bad news comes out, they decide to release a report on something. A very important report about terrorism or whatever it is. Whenever they're kind of like, ooh, yeah, we got a lot of casualties here. We better bring out this other report. This is what companies do. So E3 is the smokescreen to what's actually going on in the business world of video games. And it's sad. So they tricked you. You get no transforming Batmobile. And a buddy of mine, I was just talking to him yesterday, and he's like, are you going to midnight? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be going to midnight. And he's like, yeah, I'm getting my Batmobile. And I was like, you don't know. He's like, no, why? He's like, did you get a call from GameStop? He's like, yeah. And I was like, did you listen to it? No, they're just telling me to go pick up the game. No, they're not. They're telling you it's not showing up. Like, that's outrageous.
So if you pre-ordered this, I'm assuming this is called like the super legendary Batarang.
My parents are dead edition.
My parents are dead edition.
Yes.
Where is it? Where is it?
Oh, God.
So when you go, they're gonna be like, oopsie, and then just hand you a regular copy of the game, and then you'll get a download code?
Yes.
And will you be refunded?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I say something really quick? Because this will never come up. The Batman voice in the Dark Knight trilogy is brilliant. And I'm not kidding. It is the smartest thing. Everyone can do a great impersonation of it, right?
That is true.
Everyone? Wouldn't that mean that anyone could be Batman? Well, what did he sound like? Well, he sounded like this. And they'll be like, yeah, he sounded just like that, officer. Everyone sounds like him. He totally covered up his voice. It's brilliant. I'm just saying. So you would never know who Batman was. I'm just saying.
That is true.
Okay. And that's going to do it for Shenmue 3 Stories of the Week. We have Chart Park. We have Idiot of the Week. We got Pocket Talk. We got Pressure Points to get to.
Got it all.
We got it all right here. Ugh. Stuffy. I got to open up a window. Let's just get out here for a second and head on down to the Chart Park, the land where money grows on trees. Yes, the Chart Park. This is the part of the show where we will find out which fat cats of Wall Street will tip their top hats towards Lady Luck as we discuss all the business and financial news in the video game industry, starting with Microsoft, a rather significant story if you've been following the news for the past couple of years. Stefan Elop, who of course was the former CEO of Nokia, which was then acquired by Microsoft. He then became the head of devices, is leaving Microsoft. Okay, you might be saying to yourself, why is he leaving? Well, we don't really have a reason for that. We do know that Devices is actually going to merge with operating systems. That means that your HoloLens is going to be right next to your Windows 10. You might be saying, what does this mean for Xbox? Nothing. The Xbox has its own division. When Stefan Elop originally took this position, Xbox was actually part of Devices, and he was quite vocal that he had no interest in the Xbox continuing to be part of Microsoft. He didn't understand it. There were reports coming left and right. He wanted to spin it out, which frankly would have been a mistake. But Xbox can stand on its own. Frankly, it does a good enough business. A lot of people are saying that it's because he didn't actually get the top spot at Microsoft. You know, Satya Nadal took over, and I think a lot of people said that took the wind out of Elop's sails. But for a long time, Elop was like, why is this guy running Xbox if he doesn't like Xbox? So when it was spun out and Phil Spencer came in, there was much rejoicing.
So we don't know where he's landing or anything? He's just gone?
He's starting another company called Nokia. Yeah.
I just picture him just retiring to his Scrooge McDuck vault and swimming in his money.
Nokia was purchased for $7.2 billion.
Oh, Jesus, that's a lot of zeros.
Is it? How much did they buy Minecraft for?
Yeah, that's true, but when was the last time you owned a Nokia cell phone? The answer is when you were 15 and you had that big blue brick.
Yes. Well, I'm just saying, think about it, $7.2 billion, and you're absolutely right, but in comparing it to something like the Oculus getting purchased and WhatsApp getting purchased, it's not that much money.
Yeah.
7.2 for an actual hardware manufacturer?
Yeah. Well, yeah, Nokia has more of a legacy, but things like Minecraft are just very, sexy in the now, so I can see why they're worth money.
Man, Minecraft is definitely sexy with its cubes, fractals. Baby. All right. Well, Bandai Namco. Yes, we're talking about Bandai Namco. They're going to be doing a huge amount of restructuring for their executive team in the United States. That means Hyde Irie. He used to be the CEO of Age Tech and the president and CEO of Sega of America. He will now be taking on two roles, vice president and COO. So, this also means that what's going to be happening to the old vice president area, because, the regular vice president is going to be Eric Hartness. This guy's from Amazon Game Studios, and he also worked at Electronic Arts. So Bandai Namco totally restructuring, which is probably a smart move because, Bandai Namco makes a lot of their money off of things other than video games around the world. Not so much here. They're a games company. We're not dying to watch their anime series, and buy their albums. But that's true.
Well, maybe they're going to reboot the Wonder Swan now.
Oh my god.
Wonder Swan 2. Make it happen.
The Wonder Swan, is that not that might be the only handheld system that actually was made for left and right-handed people. So cool. And you can even hold it vertically, God, that was a cool system. Moving over, we have a brand new company to talk about, Highwire Games, which is being founded by Marty O'Donnell, the composer who was unceremoniously fired from Bungie after, making one of the most recognizable and iconic soundtracks to any video game over the past 16 years. Yeah, 15 years. 14. Halo 1 that's when it came out. He was literally fired, within minutes. I've heard the story between him and Michael Pachter. Michael Pachter's talking to him on the phone and being like, hey, how you doing? Oh, yeah, I'm good. How you doing, Pac? Oh, we're doing good. You want to do some blow? Yeah, sure. Hey, hold on. I'm getting called into my office. And literally getting a phone call 40 minutes later saying, I'm in my car. They let me go. This is the stories that reported. Well, he started a brand new studio, Highwire Games, with Jamie Grismer, who used to be part of a designer at Bungie, and Jared Noftel, formerly of Airtight Games, which, if I'm not mistaken, actually closed down only a couple of months ago. So far, the company only has about 10 employees, but that's very promising. Very creative people. Very creative people.
But we can expect a Kickstarter in the coming months.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, we'll be covering that. Final Fantasy VII, of course, is being remade, and so is Square Enix's stock, you could say. It jumped 2.9%, and that is the highest that company's stock has been since 2008. Wasn't 2008 when they released Final Fantasy 13?
I think so.
Oof. It was kind of cool when that little chocobo popped out of the afro, though.
Oh, Jesus, that game.
I like the combat.
Yeah, the combat's fine. I hate the level design. Obviously, that seems to be the chief complaint. And then just the story is asinine. Like, if you sit down and you go, okay, Colin, tell me what Final Fantasy 13's about. It's like, well, there's the Lycee and the wood and the stuff and the
You're
afro.
overestimating what I could do with that. And as for the level design, I will say, at the very least, it was straightforward.
Hey!
There we go. Honk, honk, beep, beep, brrr.
Waka, waka, waka.
Oh my god, we have some interesting information for you Steam heads out there. That's what the PC community likes to call themselves.
Is that what they really do?
No, but
Okay.
they should. Steam head sounds like a cool name. Sergey Galnakin. A very difficult name to say. Can I say that? That's a very difficult name to say. He has been investigating exactly what goes on in the shady dealings of Steam. He's the Steam spy, as he likes to refer to himself. And he's discovered that the average game on Steam, which consider how every single couple of months, good. They always say, hey, we broke a brand new record of concurrent users at the same time. Well, guess what? They only sell 32,000 copies. The average game on Steam sells 32,000 copies, and that's it.
I'm curious how he kind of figured this out. Like, how would you get sales figures for games? And did he do this, like, as a longitudinal study? Because, like, I always see Steam as a long game.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe when I'll take indie darling Super Meat Boy. When Super Meat Boy comes out, I can see it selling, 20,000 copies or something like that. But people are still buying Super Meat Boy.
Yeah, well, he actually does address that. Where does he have that? We've got that information somewhere. Let's start off with what he had to talk about for why this is.
Okay.
But he does address that later on. He says, like Russia about 10 years ago, China is slowly turning into a viable market for paid games. Grand Theft Auto 5 was recently released on Steam with Chinese localization. I did not know that. And special pricing, $29. I did not know that.
Wow.
And this guy knows his stuff.
Register a Chinese Steam account.
And manage. Oh, Brandon, if you're listening, don't do that. And managed to gather 11% of its users from China. That means 225,000 copies of the game were sold through Steam in China alone, making about $6.75 million in gross sales. Of course, as Russians before, Chinese gamers are unlikely to buy just any game. The market for paid games is pretty much hit-driven, and games should have strong multiplayer component so users would have an incentive to buy it instead of pirating it. But it is possible to make money from the Chinese market without going free to play. I realize now that those quotes were not exactly together with the headline. This is a great episode, let me tell you. But he does actually address that, games that are most of the games actually peak at 32,000 and do drop off, but he does mention the exception. He says it's really difficult to crack the code. How do you make your game successful? And he says that either you're going to sell a lot right away and continue to sell a lot, you're going to sell a lot right away and stop, or you're going to sell very little and actually accumulate. He does reference things like Super Meat Boy and compares them to Skyrim and how those things go.
Well, and cost is interesting too, because I know it's a very lucrative, shady business on Steam right now to buy Unity asset packs for, say, $50 or something like that, and then put that Unity asset pack on Steam and sell it for like $2-3.
Right.
So you don't need to sell that many copies to make money.
No. And consider that they are buying the game. Like, just consider they are buying a game. Even if it's 32,000 copies, someone's giving money for it. And we live in an age where, take out your smartphone and you're just downloading free-to-play games. There are free-to-play games everywhere you go. So, at the very least, having a game being purchased and having some sort of value is impressive.
Yeah. Well, and now with Steam refunds too, that like all this data could change basically in the next year. I don't know.
Boy.
I'd be interested to see. I wish somebody could look at like Steam's summer sale numbers and then look at their return numbers. Like if anybody got burned on a game and just didn't want it.
I know we're not talking about it, but let's talk about it. Did you buy anything on the Steam summer sale?
I bought a lot of things.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any money right now. So
Oh, okay. So spend money.
Yeah. So spend money. No, I
Gotta
said
spend money to make money.
I set a limit for myself. I said, okay, I'm gonna give myself $25 and whatever I can get with that, I'll get with it.
Was this a class project? What are you-
No, it's a self-imposed mandate, so I don't buy a bunch of dumb shit. But yeah, I don't know. I got a lot of stuff. I think the best thing I came away with was I got Wolfenstein, not the new blood or the old blood, but the new order.
Oh,
So I got that for really cheap, like
It's pretty good.
$14.95. Yeah.
I think you really got to. I always tell everybody, hey, if you're gonna play that game, beat that game. Like, that's a game that actually has some stuff in there that's worth exploring. I think the gameplay is a bit at odds with its narrative. The ludonarrative dissonance.
Oh shit!
Though it never betrays the character. The tones feel jarring. Anything else good?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I picked up a lot of like AAA stuff from a few years ago that was just cheap. So I got Total War Empire.
Oh wow, cool.
Which I really like Total War Shogun and the original Rome Total War when I was younger. But I hadn't really played any of the games, so I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna jump on this one because the time period seems interesting. And it's really cool. I'm currently India, or a faction in India, and I'm like conquering the British, and they're very upset with me, and it's a lot of fun.
I've never heard anyone say, I'm currently India.
I'm currently India.
Maybe in a bad Google Translate.
Yeah, I got all these guys with, they ride camels and have pistols, and they shoot British people in the face. It's awesome.
Let's be Brazil for a moment.
Let's do it.
Because over in Brazil, the PlayStation 4 is outrageously expensive, over like around $1,400 just to buy a PlayStation 4. Why is that? Well, Brazil has something called tariffs, and if you ever pay attention in social studies, you should know what that is. Now, the way it works is if you build a manufacturing plant locally, so you're actually hiring local workers, paying people, improving the economy overall of Brazil, they will actually allow you to sell it for whatever you want, within tax and all that. Well, Sony is finally going to build a local manufacturer to build PlayStation 4s in Brazil. A little late to the game because Microsoft jumped on this, I believe, in late 2013. Nintendo, of course, has no relation.
No.
They've actually pulled out of Brazil entirely. They have no interest in.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense for them financially, I don't think.
Yeah, so that's very good news for all the Sony fanboys over in Brazil.
Maybe Sony should get Pele as their spokesman, like EA did.
Yes.
During E3, when I basically like fell asleep listening to those people talk about sports.
Oh, Brazil, Jesus! Like, what a messed up place.
I got the tagline, the Pele Station. There you go.
Oh, boo!
Pay me now, Yoshida. Pay me.
So anyway, I think we should go over to the terrible island of England so that we could check out their 10 best-selling games of the week. Number 10, Farming Simulator. Number 9, Battlefield Hardline. Number 8, Splatoon. Pretty significant drop on Splatoon.
But still, since no one owns a Wii U over there, that's pretty impressive.
Good point. Number 7, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Number 6, FIFA 15. Number 5, Grand Theft Auto 5. Number 4, Payday 2 Crime Wave Edition. Number 3, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which is really just Witcher Wild Hunt. They don't have 3 in the title.
I thought there was like a slash, like on a Monster energy drink can.
No, that's Guns N' Roses. Number 2 is Lego Jurassic World, and number 1 is The Elder Scrolls Online.
That's weird.
I didn't even talk about it last week because we were so busy, but I did play some Elder Scrolls Online. That game's great.
It's gotten better?
That game's great.
Do you still have to wait in the quest line for the quests where they're like, oh, you're the only one who can save us?
Yes. It's got all those tropes, but the game is great. Like, if you ever wanted an action version of Elder Scrolls, play that. You can play it by yourself. It's great. Great voice acting. John Cleese, he's a skeleton. Let's go over to the cursed land of trains known as Japan and take a look at their 10 best-selling games.
Also known as It's Time for Colin Can't Pronounce Japanese Game Names.
Number 8 might surprise you. Really, wait till you see it. Number 10 is Girls Mode 3 Kira Code. Number 9 is Shiren the Wanderer 5 Plus on the Vita. Number 8 is Alien Isolation?
Oh?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, Steam sale, it was on sale, but that's the only thing I could
It's the
think of.
PS4 version.
That's why.
I don't know.
Huh.
Number 7 is The Witcher Wild Hunt. Number 6 is Minecraft Vita. Number 5 is Mario Kart 8. Jesus. Still hanging in there, buddy. Number 4 is The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky Evolution.
The hell was that?
It's made by Falcom and it's on the Vita. Number 3 is Splatoon. And number 2 on the 3DS is Dragon Ball Z Extreme Budoten. And number 1, oh my god, number 1 is Rhythm Heaven: The Best Plus.
Rhythm Heaven :
Yeah, it's where they took all the games and they merged them together and took the very best of the best, which, by the way, Rhythm Heaven, oh my god, Rhythm Heaven. I love you, Rhythm Heaven, so much. You're the best. Seriously. Go buy it. Go to Toys R Us. You can get it for like $4 on 3DS. Or, $12 on the Wii. Like, fuck. Everyone play Rhythm Heaven. It's so charming. But let's talk about some hardware for a moment, can we?
Do it.
The best-selling piece of hardware in Japan is the new 3DS XL with 19,620, followed by the Wii U for 16,413, followed by the PlayStation 4 with 10,822, PlayStation Vita 10,797, new 3DS regular edition 4,329, followed by the PlayStation 3 2,633, 3DS at 943, 3DS XL at 880. Wow, just like really dropping there. PlayStation Vita TV at 566. And in last place, very appropriately in last place, the Xbox One with 100. 100.
That's it. And even 100?
100. 100.
Wow. I mean, every week it's fun to see if they break the 200 mark, but now they're apparently dropping below that. So they might be into, like, double digits at some point.
Yeah.
Like, how many Xbox 360s or Xbox Ones sold? 12.
Yeah, we sold about 12, yeah.
About 12.
Sold one. So I think we sold one, but he returned it. He thought it was something else.
I would love to visit the Tokyo Games District, whatever it's called, and just, like, walk around and look for Xbox-related things. Like,
yeah.
I wonder how difficult it is to even find Microsoft products.
Well, just based off of how it is with the 360, I've looked this up before, and there's actually a few videos of people showing the Xbox section of a store. You know how, like, the Vita section is?
Mm-hmm.
Much smaller.
Okay.
Like, even here.
I like to think of it like, okay, so there's this camera shop right next to my apartment.
Yeah, totally.
It's like super old, so there's all these, like, cameras from the 1980s and like these old ass like Nikon camera ads that are just like sun bleached and covered in dust in the window.
Right.
So I like to think that that's what Xboxes look like.
Actually, it's kind of funny you bring that up because that's actually where I believe a lot of Xbox are sold, or camera shops in Japan.
Oh.
Like they don't really do the whole game store thing. Like they have electronics sold together. That's how they actually sold the PlayStation 2 because the shops had The Matrix playing. Because they also sold DVDs and other electronics. People went, oh, DVD player. So yeah, the Xbox One over in Japan, it's basically like trying to find an anime otaku shop in America. Like, no joke.
That's wild.
That's wild stuff. Wild stuff. And that's gonna do it. Let's get back inside. That's the end of the chart park. The land where money grows on trees. Man, what a beautiful place.
Gorgeous.
We got some time. So I think we should just, okay, we got Pocket Talk. Let's not take a break. Let's take a break after Idiot of the Week.
Oh, good. I
Inside
got some
baseball.
things to say about these idiots of the week.
Well, it's only 38 minutes because this is going to be I assume this is going to be a shorter show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're less than halfway through all the stories, but a lot of the stories are just like, hey, look at this. Ain't that funny? But let's talk over. Let's get tiny. Let's shrink down. It's time for Pocket Talk with its only story this week. That's right, only one story, but I would say a significant story. Joe Montana had a son, E-I-E-I-O. Joe Montana actually has his own football game. Joe Montana Football 16 is coming to the iOS devices first, followed by Android, and if it's a hit, it'll come to PC. It is a football game that is built around Unreal Engine 4, and I've seen some of the graphics. Doesn't look great. There's a little bit of flickering, but they have time. It looks pretty good.
I mean, it could be cool. I like the NFL Blitz game that came out a few years ago where you could do drugs.
Blitz the league.
Yeah, that was fun, because I like doing steroids and running people over.
It wasn't bad, yeah.
But then there was that, I think it was like an Xbox arcade release. It was called like Backbreaker or something like that, and that was awful.
That was, who released that? Was that Natural Motion? Because they were developing the physics for it?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I remember I downloaded the demo because I'm like, oh, this could be interesting, and fuck Madden, and then it was just like, no, I can't do this.
Yeah, the demo, I think, was actually the best part. Because it was just, well, I thought the demo was okay, but the actual game was not. But, you were just a guy with the ball that runs. I don't watch football.
Well, I think this mobile game would be better if it was actually based on Joe Montana's son, because that would be hilarious.
That'd be amazing.
Third-string quarterback at Notre Dame University currently.
The fan goes wild.
Reach for the sky, kids.
Well, I mean, it's basically a football game coming to mobile devices. It would be, honestly, at this point, I think that's probably a safer bet. Like, trying to enter the console space with how much it costs to develop these days. Going into mobile, it doesn't cost that much, and you will generally just make your money back.
Yeah, and you could do some cool stuff with it. Like, I'm guessing it's going to be kind of arcadey as opposed to a sim because of, the nature of mobile. But maybe if there was like a rhythm-based tap system to do stuff, that would be cool.
Yeah, sure. You can't run any further. You have to wait 3 hours, or you can save as much money.
You can. Yeah. That'd be great.
But it should be worth noting, the NFL teams included in this game are none, zero, zilch, nada. EA owns the NFL for the time being. Though there were always those reports coming out of the NFL that they were not entirely happy with the deal.
Yeah, and EA has always had some really, really shady deals. Like, they clear things with the NFL, but the NFL Player Association is always a little iffy about it. So there's always been some issues. And there's the broader issue, too, of one company is allowed to make these licensed games, and it's just, I don't know. For the NFL, it doesn't make sense. They can make more money if they had multiple companies.
And if I'm not mistaken, the NFL, and I could totally be mistaken on this, I could be flat wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, the NFL has a little bit not waned in popularity, but they saw like a 1% to 2% decline or something like that. Because the NBA is picking up, I guess. Like, the NBA is the thing that people get excited for. Also, UFC seems to be taking a lot of that audience for whatever reason. Not to say that people don't care about football, but
they care.
They care.
Yeah. Well, and other people don't realize, too, that a lot of these other things like UFC and the NBA, they might not be as popular as the NFL, but they have more international popularity.
Yeah.
Whereas, I guess Madden it's almost like the Xbox, whereas
that's a good
it's
point.
Incredibly popular in one region, and then if you go across the pond, it's no one cares.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure where the youth is right now. That might I forget what I'm referencing right here, but I think it was something about younger people not quite getting into football. And really, who could blame them? There's a lot of stopping. Like, if baseball is not doing good, Jesus, baseball. It's a fucking boring sport, man.
Well, you do live in Milwaukee, so you have to watch the Brewers.
I worked in the goddamn stadium. I still don't know anything about baseball. Just hearing Bob Uecker yammer on over the mouthpiece. Yeah, you always want to get back to the showers because you want to get the cold water. Oh, and he gets struck out.
Oh, actually, brief aside, I had a dream 2 nights ago that I remember vividly, and I never remember my dreams, but it was Bob Uecker was my best friend, and it was just like me and Bob Uecker hanging out in Milwaukee being best friends. He
loves his ladies. That's all I know about him. Loves the ladies. Holy crap. And that's it for Pocket Talk. That was the one story.
Are we going to get big again? You going to take that super mushroom?
Boop, 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 boop. I don't know. I can hear the sound in my head, and I can't do it. I swear I can do video game impersonations.
It's okay. It never ceases to amuse me. So
good.
Please never figure it out, Colin.
Thank you, sir. But, I might be pretty bad at the sound effect. But I know what it sounds like, because I'm not an idiot. This is the worst segue ever. You know what? I'm an idiot for making this segue, but not as dumb as the idiots of the week. That's right. We normally talk about the idiot of the week, but this week we have
technically thousands
of idiots that we need to talk about. So we have 2 stories in idiot of the week. When I started doing idiot of the week, it was because there was always one story I went, oh my god, I find that unbelievable. I never dreamed of having 2 in a single week, but this is worth noting. So, Metroid Prime, Federation Force. Does it look like Metroid Prime? Not really. Was it too early to show? Probably. Is it going to piss off the fans? Definitely. Over 12,000 children, with their parents' permission to sign on to AOL, have signed this change.org petition to halt the development of this new Metroid Prime game.
A game which they know nothing about and have not played, mind you.
Well, they know that they have a football game inside of there, or I should say a soccer game inside of there, and they don't like that. Here's some quotes from the petition. It has no elements at all of what Metroid is about, and its disrespectful manner to old and new fans of the series of showing them that the Metroid franchise is not dead after all. This is not the Metroid we asked Nintendo to make. We should let Nintendo know what we really think of the game and make them actually listen to their fans for once. Help us stop this atrocity of a game from bearing the beloved Metroid franchise name and make Nintendo halt production of it.
So none of these kids played Metroid Pinball, I guess.
Worth noting, Metroid... Well, I'll save this. It's too good. It's too rich. I'll save this, my little snarky comment. Here's another comment from somebody. I refuse to let them walk all over us and pretend this was a good idea. This is a travesty to the Metroid series, and nobody asked for this. Everyone wanted anything but a fucking soccer Metroid game, and Samus isn't even in it. This is disgusting. So yeah, I signed it, and I'm happy I did, because maybe now they'll finally listen to us.
Jesus Christ.
As a Metroid fan, I'm very offended at this mockery of a game.
How is this Metroid? Why would they pass this garbage for a beloved hardcore franchise? This is unacceptable.
Honestly, though, I have to agree with them. It is so against Metroid. It is nothing like Metroid. First of all, first person? Why is it a first-person shooter? That's not Metroid. I don't know what the hell Nintendo's doing. And besides that, they're going to develop it in America? Metroid is never developed in America. And, I'm sorry, kids. Were you not at E3 2002 when they unveiled Metroid Prime? People were pissed. They said, we wanted a real Metroid game. You didn't even make a Metroid game for the Nintendo 64, and now you're making a first-person shooter? You assholes. People were angry. Guess what, kids? Franchises evolve. And as somebody who recently had one of the most special moments of my video game life, I hate to use that phrase, when Shenmue 3 was announced, it just confirmed to me that all the mobile games, all the failed MMOs, all the failed animated series were worth it because it kept the franchise alive. If you want Metroid to be out, and we'll get to that later, we actually have stuff on that, just accept this title because if it increases brand recognition. They didn't call it Metroid 3. Come on, kids.
Well, it's been interesting, reading some of the stuff on this. I really like Destructoid's headline, which was just gaggle of man babies cry about new Metroid game or something like that.
My God.
It was really awesome. I forget the exact phrasing, but then I think it was on Gamer Ranks or something like that, but somebody wrote this editorial just how dare you Nintendo not listen to your fans and blah blah. Eat shit.
God.
Eat shit. You haven't played this.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what it's about. And if it didn't have the name Metroid attached to it, you wouldn't care. And this is par for the course. Nintendo has constantly branched out with their franchises by taking familiar characters and putting them in different settings. So yeah, did anybody flip their shit when Mario Super Strikers came out? Mario doesn't play soccer. He's never played soccer before.
It's very funny that you actually bring that up. What is it, Next Gen? They're the developers of this, and they developed Mario Strikers.
Oh, perfect.
And they're actually a very good studio.
Yeah, and that's a super underrated game.
Oh my God.
It's one of my favorite multiplayer games.
Me and Justin, friend of the show, actually used to go to a Circuit City, this is kind of dating when this was, and just play Strikers at the kiosk because no one cared about GameCube. We just play it. It was so much fun. It was amazing. Just amazing. So, you guys are obviously dumb, but who else is the idiot of the week? Well, we don't know. A number of traffic light poles surrounding the E3 Convention Center had images of Arnita Sarkeesian in black and white. Thanks for spending the extra scratch, guys. With the title Femme Freak. And at the very bottom of the flyers, it said, all your tropes are belong to us, honey. By the way, you want to put a comma before honey. So good job there, guys. No, really. And I do mean guys. I know.
No.
We know.
Introductory phrase before title.
Oh, and there's the hashtag Gamergate repeating in the background. What do you think you're doing?
Yeah, so I've been using, somebody coded a Gamergate block bot so you don't have to see or listen to those idiots anymore. So after I finished my research thing that I was doing for school on Gamergate, I was like, you know what, fuck these assholes, I don't want to look at them.
Right.
Turn the block bot off briefly so I could see how they reacted to this. And the general reaction seems to be we didn't do this, we didn't know who did it. And some people were like, that's kind of dumb, or I would have done it different, or, whatever. But first of all, one, no one was condemning it.
Yeah.
And two, Gamergate did the thing that they always do, which is if something good happens, Gamergate's oh, we raised money for this thing. Mm-hmm. We all did it as Gamergate. Then they take credit for it. But if something bad happens, they go, oh, well, we are just a faceless mob, so, we can't be held accountable for everyone else's actions. Eat shit. At least condemn what these people are doing. You guys are so fucking stupid. Jesus Christ.
Now here's a trick, kids. I want you to start using, you know, when you say a sentence, when you say we, replace it with I. I really recommend that because it really makes you accountable for your actions. Instead of saying we, who's we? Where's the Gamergate headquarters that just has, like, I don't know, fucking Easy Mac bowls dried out all over the floor? I just imagine just a horrible place. Like, seriously, that's my biggest issue with Gamergate is it isn't an organization. Don't speak as we, speak as you. Do not defend these things and admit that it's garbage because this whole femme freak thing, and besides that, bad typos. But here's the thing. Who put up these posters? Oh, we don't know. And that's my biggest fucking issue. When it comes to actually being outside of your little house, you don't ever be seen. Remember when they were going to have the Gamergate thing at Comic-Con or whatever? And like 4 people showed up because you don't want to be seen. Because you'll never say that shit to somebody's face. And if you do, I'm a little worried about you, frankly, because that's disrespectful.
Well, and plus, she was there. She was at E3. I can't even imagine like why you would do that to someone. And they were all over Los Angeles. It was absolutely horrible. And both of these stories, both these Idiot of the Week stories, they kind of have this common thing where it's like, okay, so we're not saying you can't be critical of things. Like, you can write a well thought out piece on why you don't think Metroid, whatever it's called, Soccer Fun, is going to be a good game or whatever.
Yeah.
Or you know what? And you can write a measured, reasonable critique of some of the things that Anita Sarkeesian has had. Because spoiler alert, just because I think that what she's doing is good overall in the broader cultural context, I don't agree with everything she says. I disagree with her on a lot of things. The difference between me and Gamergate, or you and Gamergate, is we're capable of like mature, reasoned responses to things, not like let's make a change.org petition or let's, put up these creepy ass posters. Like, that's horrible. This is a woman who's gotten death threats and you're putting up shit like that?
Yeah.
What is your problem?
I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and somehow Anita Sarkeesian came up. I was just talking about something, because I was talking about, organizing stories for the show, and she's like, oh, I don't know, is she the person that does the video game things? And I was like, yeah, and she goes, oh, I really don't like her. And I immediately was just like, no, she's really good. I was so knee-jerk to defend her, and she was like, no, I just don't like this one thing she said, and she explained it to me. I was like, oh yeah, I don't like that either. But like, I feel like just seeing all the negative stuff, it has given me that knee-jerk reaction to defend her, because I'm not defending her statements necessarily, because like you, I don't agree with her on everything, but her right to exist is always called into question. We're not talking about her right to make the work, we're literally saying the right to exist because of the death threats that are numerous and nonstop.
Yeah, and what's weird too, like looking at this like from an academic perspective, so what I do when I'm writing academic stuff is I look at the existing body of work, I say, okay, here's what they say.
Yeah.
Here's what I think that's different. So I critique the existing literature, and I move on with my life. It's not like I'm going to author's house. I'm not going to, I don't know, I'm not digging up Walter Benjamin's grave and taking a shit on it.
Thomas Pinskin! Wait, I just fucked up his name. Thomas Pinskin? Pynchon, thank you. Pinskin? Oh, man.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's not like I'm, kicking down the doors of cultural theorists and be like, you're destroying cultural studies. Like, no one does that. You build on other people's work, you critique other people's work, that's what you do, like a reasonable adult human being, not a giant man-baby idiot.
Yeah, I mean, I love when people say, Anita Sarkeesian, that's just your opinion. Yeah, she said it. No shit. What do you have to... Do you always have to put that in my humble opinion? Do you always need to make that reference? By the way, this is what I think. This is not objective. Because I'm sick of this objective notion. That's the whole thing, is that they think that somehow she's going to poison the world and everyone's going to think like her. Guess what? Human beings never fucking agree. People like to look back on the Dark Ages as like this idea of just monochrome landscape and just the people thinking one way. No one ever agreed. That's why all these people got stabbed, Yeah,
that's why I can't deal with it. I can't deal with these Gamergate. Like, even reading it's just like, God. And the objectivity stuff, and I know we're going on a tangent, drives me nuts. Yeah. Objectivity doesn't exist. Everything is a cultural construct. Eat shit. I just want to get that like tattooed on my forehead.
Yeah.
So every time I run into an idiot, I can just be like, yeah.
Objectivity is a wonderful thing. It is something we must strive towards. But it is something that is unattainable, kids. Go get your Taoism on, guys. Like, really think about this. And that's kind of my biggest issue is that, any culture. I don't care what it is. I don't care how microscopic it is. I'll just use an example of, well, I don't actually want to name them because this is a part about Gamergate and I don't want them to get harassed, but some people like to take apart old video game consoles, all right? And some people are like, yeah, I'm working on, making a portable PlayStation. And somebody's like, and they work together on making all these portable systems. They go, that's not retro. Yeah, it is. No, it's not. See, even in the most minute sense, people don't agree. So do you think that all the feminists agree? Do you really think that feminists are... If anything, feminism embraces individuality, and I never see people say, we the feminists. I never fucking hear it. Feminists. No, but I always hear, we Gamergate, we the gamers, and all this shit. Let's cut this segment so I don't have to keep editing the damn music. So, our neediest Sarkeesian poster people and Metroid Prime babies, you are the idiots Metroid of the week. Oh, feminism. Yeah. Mom, can I get a Hot Pocket?
Change your poopy diapers, you crybabies.
God damn it. All right. Well, I don't know. Let's go take a break. Okay?
All right.
Everybody, stay tuned for more after this. Bats. Balls. Nets. Touchdowns. What do these all have in common? Fans. What does that have in common with something? Fantasy. Sports? League? There can only be one day fantasy sports league. What? True. That's right, DraftKings.com, one-day fantasy sports leagues. You can actually play for free and win huge cash prizes. What do you like? What do you want? What do you like, golf? You're a big golf guy?
Wait, so I could have a one-day fantasy sports league?
Jesus, Steve.
Oh, sorry, I just showed up.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to talk about Rory McIlroy.
No, I just like to talk out loud to myself.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I would never talk like that if someone was listening. So that's... What's the best sports team right now?
The best sports ball team is the New England Patriots. That's them.
I'm a big fan of the Cincinnati Winners.
Yeah.
That's the name of my fantasy sports team. And you know what? I can make that fantasy sports team play today. Well, if the team's playing, come on, it has to be based around reality, kids. And I can win huge cash prizes. How much is it going to cost me? Zero. Nothing. Nada. You can play at DraftKings.com today for free. One-day fantasy sports leagues. It feels like a whole new season every single time you play, and you can walk out with some real moolah. Some people have won millions of dollars for playing one day. The first time they played, millions of dollars.
Do you know how many ponies I could buy with $1 million, Colin?
Well, let's
at least 3.
Yeah. You know what? So pony up to DraftKings.com and win you some real cash. That's DraftKings.com. Whew! We are back. We're about to get into the pressure points. During the break, Steve asked, are we doing games of the week? And I'm like, I don't want to talk. Do you want to talk? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, shit, yeah. I've been doing a lot of talking. I need a break, Steve. All you did was talk about Arnita Sarkeesian in every news story and provide insightful comments. Now it's your turn to return the tables. Now it's your turn to talk.
Fair enough.
Tell me about the game you've been playing this week called You Must Build a Boat?
You must build a boat.
Must I?
You must.
Why?
Well, my back-of-the-box quote, even though it's a digital game, so there's no box, would be...
Your Steam curator quote.
You must buy this game. Hey. No, it's on Android, it's on iOS, it's on Steam. It's only a couple of bucks. Basically what it is, and this is, people are going to, rip off their headphones.
Don't rip off your headphones. Those are really important.
You need those for your face so it doesn't melt off. They're going to rip off their headphones. They're going to pick up their pitchforks and their torches, and they're going to come find me. It's a match 3 game in the vein of Candy Crush, but stay with me.
Oh, okay.
So the idea is you start off on this little boat, and you're sailing towards some different dungeons. So you get to a dungeon on the map, and then what you have to do is you have to go into the dungeon, and you have to defeat monsters and unlock chests and progress forward. And then with the resources you gain from the dungeons, you build up your boat. Now, instead of being just like a traditional RPG, the mechanics for the game are all based on this match 3 like Candy Crush game. So, for instance, I walk into a dungeon and there's a skeleton. I come up to the skeleton And you have different weapons. So there's like swords, and then
Right.
there's these like magic rods. So, the skeleton is weak to magic. So then if I match 3 magic rods, then I'll do more damage than I would if I did with a sword. If I get to a chest and I match 3 keys, then I get to open the chest and get the gold. And the game, the actual like combat sequence on the top, it's constantly scrolling. So when I get to a skeleton, I stop and I have to defeat him before I can move forward. And then I take the magical bounty that I have gotten from these dungeons and I can upgrade my characters. I can get new weapons. I can build up my boat. It is amazing. It is so addictive.
You described that so perfectly that I'm totally going to burst your bubble. That's Puzzle and Dragon.
Is it?
That's exactly what Puzzle and Dragon is.
Oh, maybe I should play Puzzle and Dragon then.
But this is cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you did a great job describing that. But the whole like immediately like 4 sentences in, I was like, oh my God, that's Puzzle and Dragon. That is literally what you do in Puzzle. I mean, there's literally like a top-down RPG. You walk around, you have to battle things, and it's like, oh, okay, so this fire will hurt this type of dragon because he's an ice dragon. Like it's literally that, and things stack and they explode.
Yeah.
But that being said, Puzzle and Dragon on a 3DS, $30.
Yeah, you must build a boat. I think I paid $1.99.
And I don't know if you'll know this on Android and iOS. Is it free to play or is it just buy it?
I think it's just outright buy it. But again,
good.
It's $2, and I've already gotten more than my money's worth. It's awesome. Plus, if you can't break the bank and spend $2,
then
if
don't
you wait
play
for a
video
Steam
games.
sale, I mean, if this game goes, it's 80% off on a Steam sale, it's like, oh, cool, pay a quarter.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, the thing is, this is obviously Puzzle and Dragon, very popular. They finally made a version that doesn't really require microtransactions with the brand new Nintendo version. Mm-hmm. But this is not really a type of game that has been duplicated. So this is kind of exciting.
And again, since I haven't like played Puzzle and Dragon, I can't really compare the two directly. But there's so much depth to like the RPG end of it that it's shocking. Like as I build my boat up, I'm like, wow, I can't believe this is in there. So like. You can get familiars.
Yes.
Oh, same thing?
Yes.
Okay, same stuff.
Yes.
All right, yeah. So if you're interested in this type of stuff, if you like Puzzle and Dragons, I guess you should play You Must Build a Boat.
I feel like such a jerk because you're so excited about this game.
It's so much fun.
No, it is. I haven't even played it. But the thing is, honestly, I would play that game anywhere. And I totally saw the art style, and it's really charming. Mm-hmm. But that sounds identical.
The other thing that I really like about it is, so the idea is to just go as far in the dungeon as you can. Like there's no definitive endpoint. There's different sections of the dungeon. And when you get to a new section, there's like a little randomized thing. So it's like, there's more chests or harder enemies or something like that. Does that happen in Puzzle and Dragons?
That happens in Puzzle and Dragons.
Oh my God. Okay, so this is a Puzzle and Dragons clone now. But it's great because since there's no definitive endpoint, no matter if you last 10 seconds or like 10 minutes inside of a dungeon, every single time it just goes, you win.
Yeah.
At the end. And then there's also like objectives. So you can go in and just crunch for money, or it's like, you need to kill, 20 skeletons in 3 minutes or something like that. And if you get that objective, then you get new items, new stuff.
Yep.
Same thing?
Same exact
That's amazing.
thing.
I can't believe they cloned it. That's cool.
But this is cool because I wouldn't have known about this otherwise.
Yeah. Well,
I feel like an asshat because you're just like, look at this game I'm so excited about, and be like, there's this other game.
Well, and I feel like it's the kind of clone that it's tough to get angry about because it's like it's becoming available for an audience that normally wouldn't, like Puzzle, like you said, Puzzle and Dragons 3DS, pay your $30. With this, it's like it's not like you're going to see Puzzle and Dragons on Steam. So it's not like when Lambeer put out Ridiculous Fishing and then the clone came out, or like with
Wacky
Threes
Fishing.
in 2084 or whatever it's called.
Now that's bullshit.
Yeah, 2048. Yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so here's my thing. We are talking about a giant company building Puzzle and Dragons. Humongous company. Lots of money. We're talking about a smaller team here.
Yeah,
and
like 2 or 3 guys.
And I think a lot of people kind of miss the idea of why independent games are sort of clones. That's how you learn how to make a game, is by making a game. It's not, you don't go to school and learn all the code and then make your first game. Making your first game is the learning experience. That is the proof of concept,
Yeah, and this same company, they had another game before this, which I never played. I think it's called like Millions or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's from what I've read about it, it's similar, but it doesn't have like the depth or all the mechanics that You Must Build a Boat has. So it seems like they're kind of learning and building on their past stuff. But it's just, I don't know, it's super, super
No,
addictive.
good for them. And honestly, I've heard nothing but good things. Like, nothing but good things. But that's so funny. I had no idea that was what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that, I mean, I think that's kind of fascinating, actually, that we have maybe a Japanese game that Americans are imitating finally, which is kind of great.
Yeah.
Been a long time. I'll pick it up. I
It's
will.
worth it. You like it?
I got some money laying around, millions of dollars. So
Did you get it from the chart park?
I got it from the chart park. Just I always like to put it in my coat pockets. During the fall. Okay, great. Pressure points. Yep. All the stories we didn't cover, we're covering them now. This is the Pressure Points. We covered the entire remaining loose ends of, I don't know, smaller stories, DLC, things that are significant to the gaming industry. And we kick it off with Mark Cerny. Yes, the architect of the PlayStation 4, who also worked on Crash Bandicoot, who also worked on Marble Madness when he was a teenager. He made that game. Just a genius. Well, there were those rumors going around that he was working on The Last Guardian. Well, Yoshida had this to say. The rumor is not true that Mark Cerny came in and is finishing the project. Mark is giving consultation on the project. He's been doing it for many of our projects. He's been working with many of our studios, especially technically. He knows the ins and outs of the PlayStation 4. He's given lots of technical advice to the Last Guardian team. The team is primarily in the Japan studio, but creative direction is being done by Udo-san and members of Gen Design, which is Udo's studio.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually, when we didn't recognize that in the trailer, that's
okay.
who it is. So yes, Mark Cerny is not in-house developing the game, but he is hands-on with pointing them in the right direction.
Probably a good idea, because it seems like with the length of time that this game has been in development, they've been kind of adrift a bit, so I think Mark Cerny's probably the guy to get you on track.
It is worth pointing out that why the hell did this take so long? It turns out that when they showed off The Last Guardian on the PlayStation 3 all those years ago, wasn't really able to run on a PlayStation 3. It actually moved to the PlayStation 4 in 2012, so a year before the system would be announced or released. So it's been there for a while, so that's kind of good news. Why the director left, he's like, well, yeah, it was done. We finished the game, we just need to port it.
Mm-hmm.
So, nothing surprising there. Now we move over to the next Yoshida story. I got some bad news, guys. This is mostly Yoshida just giving us quotes. He's a talkative guy. He's awesome. I love Yoshida. I can't wait to play as him in Super Time Force. That'll be fun. The PlayStation TV, essentially the home version of the PlayStation Vita, the portable system, it's not selling well. Well, Yoshida says there are some numerous factors as to why this happens. Here's what he had to say. It didn't capture the consumer's imagination. It's a hard concept to explain. You could say it's a mini console, it's a video streaming device. If we say it's a mini console, like other mini consoles, people expect a better device like PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. Cool, they name-dropped Xbox One. It's short in that delivery. When you say it's a video streaming device, there are other devices with higher def video. At least he's admitting it.
Yeah.
No PR speak here. It has some unique things like remote play of PlayStation 4 games. It can do many things, but it's not easy to say this one thing is extremely good. I think that's the reason we were not able to convince people at the original price. Can I say why I like Yoshida? I love you, Yoshida. That's so cool.
What does it stream at, out of curiosity? Is it
720p.
720? Okay, that could be a problem. I mean, when I first saw the trailer for PlayStation TV, I was like, oh, this actually looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
I just think, sort of like the Vita, it's been kind of pushed to the side, and the marketing has been abysmal.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to... I mean, people like you and I, we read video game news all the time, and I still don't completely comprehend what the Vita TV can do and cannot do.
God, that was proper. You and I. Wow. Just I was thinking about that. No, but you're right. I mean, for me, I own it, and I probably would have bought it at the price point it is now, which is like $39.99 in a lot of places. But I probably wouldn't have bought it anytime soon. I own it just to record video, just for the first hour and the YouTube, which you can find the link to in the description of this podcast if you want to go look at that. But, everyone else, I don't know why you don't own it.
So, I mean, it appeals to a very specific market. So if you want to capture Vita game footage, okay. I guess if I lived in a house where I had a television in my room and my PlayStation's in my living room, and I want to stream my games to my bedroom or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now, here's the thing. If you're thinking like, well, I don't want to spend the money on a Vita, maybe I'll get this. Don't. The Vita is such a cool handheld. You want the handheld. I mean, come on. You know, watching something on the TV when you got your football game on there and you're playing The Last of Us at 60 frames a second on your Vita, it's streaming to it. So
yeah,
cool.
and I mean, I don't know. There's so many issues too. Yeah, that's the other thing too. If I can stream to a Vita, I love using the streaming to my Wii U tablet thing.
Oh,
and the
totally.
Vita would be like a nicer version of that. I also know there's a lot of issues with games not necessarily working on the PlayStation TV for one reason or
A
another.
lot of them aren't compatible. Yeah.
Yeah, for no discernible reason, and that's a problem too.
Well, the JRPGs are, and that's where all my videos are, so I can get 54 views on YouTube,
Hey.
and people complaining at me. But I'm not stopping. I'm always going to be covering those Japanese games. That's what I do. So we do have some announcements of big AAA games coming from Sony to the Vita. Those games are none. Zero zilch. They're not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
Yoshida. To be honest, I wouldn't say we have big AAA Vita games from first party. But yesterday, Square Enix announced the new World of Final Fantasy that's coming on PlayStation Vita. As you know, and I know, there are great games that come out digitally on PlayStation Vita, and those are typically cross-platform games with PlayStation 4. Volume is coming out soon. Super Time Force Ultra. Holy crap, Super Time Force is going to be on the Vita?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that.
And Volume is that's the guy that made Thomas Was Alone.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be like Metal Gear, from what I understand. Metal Gear. Metal. War is hell. I love Snake. So, yeah, don't expect anything from that. And he had like a pretty good conversation about why the PSP was successful without mentioning piracy.
It's a good emulator machine.
Yes. And he also touched on, this is a different story, but he also touched on why they have so many damn remasters. Why are you coming out with this Nathan Drake collection? Nobody cares about an old Nathan Drake. We want new Nathan Drake. Here's what he had to say. The Last of Us Remastered that we released last year was hugely popular. When we look at the numbers of people who did not own a PlayStation 3 but do own a PlayStation 4, those people who never tried these games that were very, very popular on PlayStation 3, lots of people were asking for the Uncharted collection. I'm confident that the people who have the chance to play Uncharted for the first time in a higher resolution with better textures and animations, that will even attract people who played on PS3 in preparation for Uncharted 4. I'm not bothered by people who complain that when we talk about remasters. Those people are always on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, it is kind of slimy because it's like, oh, we don't have backwards compatibility, but we'll sell you a game for $40 that looks a little shinier.
Yeah.
So it makes sense from a financial standpoint because, why would you miss an opportunity to make money?
And honestly, I mean, that was the thing for all my friends that owned just 360s, and I had a 360 and PS3 or just a PC, trying to explain to them what the PlayStation 3 was doing. I mean, the games are exclusive to PlayStation 3. I would say it's still worth getting a PlayStation 3. 3D Dot Game Hero, holy shit.
Really good.
So much fun. So many great games. So, Uncharted, I think it's going to be awesome, so that way you can play one really good game and two that aren't as great. I'm saying Uncharted 3 is the best. Say that.
That's interesting. Counterpoint.
Yes.
I don't like Uncharted 3
Call
at
in
all.
point. You don't like Uncharted 3?
No.
Come again.
I got really angry at it.
I did too. You got to turn on the difficulty. It's the boat sequence, wasn't it?
Yeah, among other things. Some of the scripted events were annoying. Like, it does the thing that I hate the most in video games, which is you have to do this thing, and I do the thing, but I don't do it in the exact way that it wants me to do it, so it gets upset and makes me restart.
Yeah.
Call of Duty is notorious for doing this to me as well.
I agree. That is very frustrating.
And then I thought the combat was, like, abysmal.
Did you play it when it launched?
Yeah, right when it came out.
That's the problem. They actually
Okay.
patched in better combat.
Because I remember, like, it would
targeting
set up these,
system.
like, it would set up these, like, shooting gallery sequences where it'd be, like, obviously, like, with the chest-high walls that you gotta,
Yeah.
and whatnot. And I
We
was
got
trying to...
trouble, Drake!
Yeah, and I was trying to play the game the way the game was trying to make me play it.
Right.
And I was like, this is kind of cumbersome. And I found out that because the AI was a little bit wonky and the aiming was off, instead of using the cover, I would just run up to enemies and they would just shoot wildly and I would just kill them from point-blank range.
They fixed everything in a patch.
Okay, but it was really, I felt like I was playing like Siphon Filter 2 or something on the PlayStation 1.
Oh my god, I'd love to play Siphon Filter 2. Will we get another siphon filter?
No, because there's no reason to give us a new siphon filter. If you have Uncharted and you have Sam Fisher running around, there's like what's the market for siphon filter at this point? Yeah, people who are nostalgic for siphon filter. So
Taser people into flames.
Yeah, that was cool. So maybe we'll get a HD collection. Actually, that would.
With his amazing running animation.
Well, you can get them. They're PS1 classics, aren't they?
Yeah, don't even get me started on that. You can't play PS1 classics on the PlayStation 4. There are very few of them that work on the Vita, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah, it's fucked up, man. Anyway, Yoshida, because we're just talking about Yoshida, because he had all the news. If you want to know about E3, guys, maybe look a little bit more in the podcast.
Got a couple of the podcasts for you.
Couple episodes where he talks literally about everything. He was nervous about the game Horizon that's being made by Guerrilla Games, which of course stars a woman. He was nervous about this.
Women make him nervous. He's a nervous guy. He's like Woody Allen.
I was nervous to see the reaction from people. She's a female lead character. That has always been the vision by the team, but we had a discussion. Is it too risky to do a female character? The concern came after the game was in development. We started to show it to many more people internally, and they had questions about it. So we worked with our marketing groups to do this focus testing. We wanted to see how people would react to some of the things, open world RPG, the setup of machines versus primitive weapons, and the female protagonist. All of those things. The focus testing reaction was positive, and that made us feel good. But, it's a limited number of people that we were able to test. And so, it's questionable. Why did he say that? But here's his follow-up. As an industry, I think we should continue to make efforts to have more females in studio. Why females? Just stop. Women. Women. Do you have anybody below the age of 17? You can say girls then, more females in studios on the development side to go get different perspectives. Games have always been more and more popular in terms of who plays, especially in terms of mobile. We have a chance to further increase the reach from the PlayStation standpoint to a bigger, more diverse audience. In order for us to do that, the games we create have to appeal to a broader audience. Which originally he said broad audience, which people were very mad about. I'm kidding. Okay.
A broad audience,
You know that bookstore, Broad
Broads
Vocabulary?
No.
It's a feminist bookstore.
Broad Vocabulary.
It's such a great. I don't know if it's still there, but I used to pick up a lot of poetry there. Shut up, audience. Can't help it. I do know where he's coming from. Unfortunately, having female leads is very difficult in terms of video games because we're still exiting the era of like Fear Effect, very sexualized characters.
Well, and in the 1980s when it was established that video games are for young adolescent men, that sort of stuck with things, and then when they got edgier, it was edgier in a way that would still appeal to young adolescent men. So then that's where we got Fear Effect, sexualized women, things like that, and you're still feeling the reverberation from that. And it's difficult, too, from a cultural standpoint in Japan because it's a little bit different from America. So Japan has always embraced women in lead roles in games that are sort of like culturally coded.
Oh my God, it's spreading.
As feminine instead of masculine. So things like JRPGs and stuff. I'm sure Square Enix didn't bat an eye at making a bunch of shitty Lightning games.
No, not at all.
No, because JRPGs are more, feminized for some reason. But when you get into an action game, that's where they get a little like, oh no. And there's plenty of research that says, yeah, people like to play as women in games. That's not an issue.
Yeah,
but we've
maybe
seen
not
this
for the
before.
right reason.
Yeah, no. When
Why would I want to
Sega...
start a dude's ass? I could start a woman's ass in the game.
Was
I'm
it
so
Sega
tired of that
or was
comment.
it 2K that published Remember Me?
No, that was Ubi. No, that was Capcom.
Capcom. Okay.
Capcom.
Yeah, so I know the devs had to fight tooth and nail
Yeah.
to keep the character as a woman because they're like, oh, well, she's a woman, and then when she kisses the man, it'll be like the players are kissing the man, and the players aren't going to want to kiss a man. It's like, I don't know. You are wrong. So it's this kind of like old guard backwards thinking, and they're starting to come around, and this E3 was awesome. How many games do we see where you could have a playable female character?
A ton.
Tons of women in these games, which is really cool because people are excited about them and they're going to sell well, and that'll kind of help change the mindset.
And besides that, when I look at the video game power rankings of who are the most powerful games and who are the most powerful characters, it's people like, oh, Kratos has to be up there. Master Chief, he's up there. Dante from Devil May Cry, he's way up there. For my money, the most powerful video game character of all time is Bayonetta. Do not fuck with Bayonetta. She will murder you so hard, and she will laugh. And I love Bayonetta. She is she is the coolest character ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. I mean, she dresses hella sexy. Very scandalous. She's not doing that to have sex. She's not trying to attract anybody. No. She feels goddamn good.
Which is, hey, going back to our discussion earlier about feminists disagreeing. I know I've seen plenty of women who have written critiques of Bayonetta that I disagree with. I've seen plenty of women write, great things about Bayonetta that I really agree with.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's not like anybody's right or wrong. It's just different interpretations of a media text. And that's fine. That's okay.
You know, it sucks, though, when you encounter somebody that totally disagrees with you, like, in terms of feminism, you're usually, like, enjoying, like, a beer or some wine and having a conversation.
You should write them a 28-page letter about how they're wrong about everything and they're trying to destroy video games.
Just let people say what they mean, you know. They're not holding anybody. Stop oppressing my imaginary friends.
Here's an idea. Read things that you disagree with.
Oh.
And then try and form your own educated opinions about things. And then try and, have a conversation with yourself and say, why do I disagree with this? Why do I think the things I think?
Yeah.
Imagine that. Using your brain. That's crazy, isn't it?
I'm just saying, just saying. Just hashtag just saying. That's actually, I don't agree with Anita Sarkeesian. That's why I listen to her. Because she's articulate. Anyway, let's move over. Let's stop talking about backwards people. Let's talk about backwards compatibility.
Hey, segue of the day.
It's not coming to the PlayStation 4. According to Yoshida, backwards compatibility is hard. I won't say we'll never do it, but it's not an easy thing to do. If it was easy, we would have done that. Straightforward.
It's hard.
But the Xbox One is certainly going to do it. In fact, we have the power rankings, speaking of power rankings of what people want to see come to the Xbox One emulated at the very, very, very top spot, Red Dead Redemption.
Makes sense.
Followed by like Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Elder Scrolls Skyrim, and Halo Reach. Which I'm sure PC enthusiasts would be laughing if they didn't have Red Dead Redemption and Halo Reach.
Yeah, now, some of these other titles are weird because I can see, like, people really like, Black Ops and stuff like that, but they like Black Ops and stuff because of the multiplayer?
Yeah, Black Ops 2 has really good multiplayer.
And I don't know if when you emulate on the Xbox One, if it will include that online... Oh, okay.
Not only will it include online multiplayer, if you actually use cloud saving, you'll be able to bring your save from your 360 over to the Xbox One.
Oh, that's cool.
A lot of this stuff has been getting detailed. I know it's, However, you want to play a Kinect game? No. But if you did, no. You can't play Star Wars.
How am I going to play Disney Theme Park? Or, Han Solo Dance-a-thon?
Was Disney Theme Park any good? It looked okay to me. I didn't play it. I don't know.
It was, I helped my friend
I got, like, some
set up a Kinect that she got for her kid, and I tried to play it, and I was very bad at it.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's me failing at being a Kinect player, or I guess you could say I couldn't connect with it. A little rough.
Hey, there's a new interface coming to Xbox One. It's going to be using Xbox One's new features. It's going to be faster. It's going to include Windows 10. Check that out. Let's get back to Kinect. Microsoft is absolutely supporting the Kinect. According to Xbox's Aaron Greenberg, we are absolutely continuing to support Kinect. We continue to support Kinect where it makes sense and innovating with Kinect in different ways.
Where it makes sense, not most of the time.
We really want Kinect to be a choice for our customers. For me, I love it. I turn my Xbox One with Kinect. I use it for entertainment. I use it to do screenshots and all of that. I like to be able to have my hands on the controller and use voice commands, but frankly, a lot of people want a better value and don't want to have to pay for it. Wow, where were you 2 years ago?
I like to have my hands on the controllers and use voice commands. Or you could have your hands on the controllers and use button commands.
Whoa! So we're not going to force people to do that. We want to give people the choice. Seriously, I've used the Xbox One Kinect. It's amazing. I'm dead serious, guys. The Xbox One Kinect is perfect. I just had to turn it off because, I do a lot of videos, and it would be like, are you raising your hand? I'm like, no, I'm talking to the audience. So, I had to unplug it,
Yeah. And you know what? Kinect is silly, but it's almost endearing in that way. So I think Kinect will be fun to look back at in 10 years when you can play all those, like, weird Kinect titles. Like, do you remember that? It was like a survival horror game that was all Kinect.
Oh, fuck.
And then there was that weird mech game.
Well, that was Steel Battalion 2.
Yeah, Steel Battalion 2, where it was completely broken, and it was all Kinect gestures. And Yeah,
And
it's
that
I
horror
think it's going to
game.
be really fun to look back on Kinect games, sort of like how we look at like FMV games now.
God, I really want to know what that horror game was. I know what you're talking about.
I think it's like first person, and
Yeah.
it's all gesture based. And
Yeah.
it was just weird. Like I remember seeing it, I'm like, God, this is bizarre.
Moving on, we have Iwata. He has definitely heard some people's reactions to the E3 events.
Did he say "please understand" in the quote?
He did not.
Oh, damn it!
But he said that they are listening to the opinions of this year's digital event seriously, or they're taking the opinions seriously, and that they want to work to better meet your expectations. Reggie Fils-Aimé was quick to point out this was not an apology, and that he said that they have a ton of great games coming up.
Which is fine. I mean, this is kind of how Nintendo operates. You know, people got mad at them about Earthbound for a really long time.
Yeah.
But they hear you. That's why Earthbound came to the Virtual Console. Obviously, they have the original Earthbound, or Mother Beginnings, or whatever they're calling it now.
And bad news, kids. If you're disappointed by the Wii output that you saw there, that's fine. But you have to understand, the Wii U is pretty much a corpse. And yeah, we're gonna see some stuff out of it, but that's it. It's over.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like a dead console or something like that, but I mean, it started its downward trajectory.
It seems games and consoles are different things. The PlayStation 2 had a number of games that were released after the console technically ended, you know, and the PlayStation 3 was out. This is looking like an Xbox, the original Xbox scenario, where it's pretty much it's done. We disagree, but
we get Star Fox, we get Mario Maker, we get Yoshi, we get Zelda, maybe. Except I still think the Zelda game's gonna be like
NX.
Yeah, NX, Wii U.
The Wii U is I think the system is dead. I think the games will continue to happen. I don't think you're going to see any significant firmware updates, adding features. That's for me what creates a live console. It's not the games anymore because shit, there are PSP games still coming out.
Yeah, it's more the OS or something like that. Yeah, and I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, there's not much I would change on the Wii U interface, really.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely want maybe Wario to voice over everything I click on.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, playing Splatoon,
Yeah, Waluigi skins for all, skins.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
Make the entire screen purple.
Yeah, give me some Waluigi skins. That's all I need.
So, Metroid Prime. Well, series producer Keisuke Tanaba has this to say about the future of the series. If we started for Wii U now, it would likely take 3 years or so. So it would likely now be on Nintendo's NX console. Don't know if you were supposed to say that. Truth be told, making HD games takes a lot of time and resources. I haven't been able to collect a team or the resources to do it. So they probably should have started a long time ago and they didn't. But there you go, kids. That's what's happening. Shigeru Miyamoto is talking about Star Fox Zero. Guess what? Very interesting history for this series. This Star Fox started out being a prototype we created for the Wii. We took that prototype and thought about what we could do with it. We came back and just said that it should be a Star Fox game. Brilliant.
Very nice.
What should the Star Fox game be? It should be a Star Fox game. That's a good idea.
Well, it kind of ties it back into its lineage with Star Fox 2, which I know it
Electric
draws a lot-
Boogaloo, right?
Electric Boogaloo, yeah. Which never came out, and it was supposed to be like a super late release Super Nintendo game, and they ended up scrapping it, and then they went with Star Fox 64, so...
It was at the very first E3 in '95. It was very late.
Yeah, super, super late. But yeah, I like how it's taking a lot of elements from that, and it's also kind of like an in-betweener game.
Also,
on the Wii.
worth noting, Miyamoto has stated that yes, they're working with Platinum Games, but they were actually going to work with Monolith Soft at one point. That was their first instinct, according to him.
I wish they would buy both those studios outright instead of just like, keeping them as like second-party developers.
I want Platinum to be free to do whatever weird shit they want to do, like Metal Gear Rising, like cool stuff. John Vignacchi, the Disney Interactive Vice President. That's right, Disney guy over here, who apparently likes to drink a lot. There were some amazing stories from E3. He sounds like an awesome dude. I'll tell you some stuff. He had this quote. This is all we've got. Hopefully the day Mario meets Mickey Mouse is not that far away. He wants in. He wants Mario and Mickey to hang out. It's a weird image in my head.
Yeah, it makes sense, though. You and I were talking about this earlier, but if you go back and you read about Nintendo's business strategy and right around the time of the Famicom NES era,
Yeah.
they basically wanted to be Disney.
Oh, yeah.
They've had partnerships with Disney in the past, so Nintendo started off as a card maker. They made playing cards, and one of the first times they really started to branch out before they got into the toy industry was when they struck a licensing deal with Disney to make Disney playing cards.
What was it, 1950 something?
Yeah, 50s, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it would make the most sense. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we hear these rumblings of Disney could always just buy Nintendo. Although I don't think Nintendo would ever sell.
No, I don't think it would either. But that's always been something on the table. And who knows? I mean, the last decade we've seen Disney absorb Marvel and Star Wars, which 20 years ago, if you would have said that, I would have been like, no. What?
Honestly, I think Disney should eventually buy the WWE. I'm dead serious. I think that
would be interesting.
I've thought about that. Anyway, moving on. Hey, what the dealio? You can't export your videos from Mario Maker directly to YouTube? Why the heck not? Stupid Nintendo! Well, the series producer, the Super Mario Maker, by the way, it's Super Mario Maker.
Yeah.
Yeah, worth pointing out. Takashi Tezuka, here's what he had to say. We thought about having YouTube uploading, but it's not in our game. The reason for that is other than just watching movies, of course, we'd rather players play them and experience them in that way. Stupid jerks want us to play the games. I just want to watch it. Of course, the game will be released for the 11th day of the 9th month of 2015, as Nintendo would like to say.
Yeah.
Just they don't want to say it. Just say September
say
11th. Who cares? It's been long enough. We forgot. Well, we did forget, but we're moving on here, all right? You can't live in the... Come
Supposed to
on.
never forget here, Colin.
It sucked. We can move on. I don't think anybody's saying, you know what, in hindsight, that wasn't that bad. No one's saying that.
The real question is, though, Colin.
Yes.
Can Super Mario Maker melt steel beams? I don't think it can.
Have you seen Mario? He's literally free-falling. It's like if you dropped him out of an airplane, he would be going the same speed. That doesn't make any sense, you know? And also, there's this BBC video where shortly before Mario jumps the warp pipe, they report on it, but it didn't happen yet.
And Mario collects a lot of coins. I believe the new Super Mario Brothers 2 on the 3DS was all about coins. Loose change, maybe you're familiar, Colin?
Yeah, we talk about these 8 worlds, but why don't we talk about World 7? Anyway, so let's talk about Reggie Fils-Aimé. He actually had this to say about virtual reality. What we believe is that in order for technology to move forward... By the way, Reggie Fils-Aimé works for Nintendo. If you're listening to this, I assume you know that. But, just in case.
Big Reg.
Yeah, Reg. What we believe is that in order for this technology to move forward, you need to make it fun. And you need to make it social. I haven't walked the floor, so I can't say in terms of what's on the floor today. But at least based off what I've seen to date, it's not fun, it's not social, it's just tech. Woo, baby!
Shots fired.
Yeah, and he even said that they are very familiar with VR, saying, we have a knowledge of the technical space, and we've been experimenting with this for a long, long time. Boy. Okay, and obviously I'm skeptical about virtual reality, but I can't help but feel like this is the old statement Nintendo used to make, being like, people don't really want to play games online. I can't help but just feel like, you sound kind of like an old man.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, and you're not going to be able to really parse out how accurate this was until, 5-10 years from now. He could be right, though, because as it stands right now, it's not social at all. I mean,
no.
Totally wrong with the online thing, obviously, because that's incredibly social.
Yeah.
But something like this, especially Nintendo's business strategy, they still really value, same room multiplayer, things like that. It just doesn't make sense. Until Nintendo can develop technology that mimics Microsoft's Minecraft demo, where the 3D space, but in a 3DS way, where you can see the 3D without wearing goggles or anything like that. That would be something Nintendo would get into, I think. But as it stands right now, it doesn't seem like it fits in their business practice.
Well, and also I don't know exactly. They would never just take VR as VR. They'll never do it. They don't take anything. They always have to reinvent it.
Yeah, every time Nintendo adopts something, whether it's new or old, it's always in a like very idiosyncratic Nintendo way, for better or worse, depending on.
We don't have microtransactions. We got wiggle points. You know, whatever,
exactly.
whatever
Wiggle
they pull.
points.
That's bullshit they do. Here's what, even they're doing something a little different with Skylanders. Of course, we have turbocharged Donkey Kong with his barrel blaster and Hammer Smash Bowser with his clown cruiser. They are now part of Skylanders. You're not gonna like this though, guys. The only way to actually purchase them is with starter kits. So, Donkey Kong and his barrel blaster are included with the Wii U starter kit. That's $75. And Bowser and the Clown Cruiser are included with the Wii, yes, original Wii, and 3DS starter kits. So basically, the 3DS starter kit is $64.99. And yeah, Wii. You know,
I'm not surprised. I mean, Nintendo and Amiibos, it's just like, I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do it. When I went into GameStop to buy Splatoon,
oh god, that's.
I felt so bad for the guy at the counter. He was just like, and I was only in there for like 5 minutes, not even. And he was just fielding all these phone calls, and it was just like, no, we don't have any Martha Amiibos. Please stop. Just please stop.
Poor guy.
Like, he was like on the verge of a nervous breakdown. And he was like, oh, do you want the Splatoon Amiibos with this? I'm like, not really, but I guess if you have the 3-pack, I'll get it. He's like, haha, I know you can't get that anywhere.
Oh, Jesus
And I was like,
Christ.
I'm going to pass. He's like, you sure? Because these will be gone in like an hour. And I'm like, I can't. It's just, I can't. When they announced the cute little woolly yarn Yoshi,
that one looks so good.
it's goddamn adorable. So I looked it up because I was like, when's this coming out? And I want to see when the Mario 30th anniversary one was coming out.
Yeah.
30th anniversary one I can't find anything on. But the yarn Yoshi is on Amazon. There's no release date, but there's already people, I don't know if they have pre-orders or if they're just like preempting the release of this thing. They're already on Amazon from third-party buyers for like $60.
Of course.
And they don't even exist in any form yet.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's just totally
These
not
are going to
worth
be
it.
probably the hardest to find, I think.
Yeah, and it's annoying because, I mean, I don't love Amiibos, but they're cool little just like characters to have sitting on my desk or whatever, and it's like, fuck, man, it's not worth my time. Make more fucking Amiibos, Nintendo.
Well, and that's kind of the good news is Activision is actually creating these. I have heard some people say when you get up close, they don't look as good as Amiibos because they're made by Activision.
Yeah, I can see that.
Let's just skip through these stories. They're going to be very, very quick. Guess what? You're never going to believe it. Tony Hawk 5, September 29th. Be there.
Get bored.
Skateboard. Don't be skateboard. Skateboard. There is no gun combat in Mirror's Edge. They've confirmed this.
Thank God.
There is no Mass Effect Trilogy remaster coming. Because why bother? They already have backwards compatibility. Final Fantasy VII Remake is not the name of the game. It will not just be called Final Fantasy VII Remake. And your dog will not die in Fallout 4.
Place your bets. I'll put 100 on. It's called Final Fantasy VII: Reborn.
Ugh. And lastly, Evolve has yet another season pass for all the DLC on June 23rd.
I'm sorry, Colin. The silence is deafening. All I can hear is crickets.
And that's going to do it for the Pressure Points. Wow, we're still doing it. It's still the same old time. I thought it would be shorter. I don't know.
It's got more to say. It's like Shenmue, man. We're going for the depth instead of the breadth. We are the Shenmue of podcasts right now.
Finally, someone said it. $47 million can't be wrong. So, I guess we need to wrap this bad boy up. But before we do, let's do This Week in History, which has some pretty impressive stuff, if I do say so myself. 11 years ago, and this is just kind of weird. This is where we get a bit meta. 11 years ago, Mega Man Anniversary Collection was released on the GameCube and PlayStation 2. So, worth noting that we have that next one coming up. Also on the PlayStation 2, 11 years ago, Driver 3, which is one of, just look up Driver 3, those YouTube videos. Oh my God.
Yeah. Driver 2 was an incredible disappointment for me, and I never played Driver 3, and I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, my God, it'll be like Grand Theft Auto in 3D, and it was not.
Driver 1, though, I spent so many hours just like editing the little videos of doing cool car jumps.
Run from the cops. They will get you. 13 years ago, Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, was released on GameCube. Great game.
Yeah.
Big fan.
You like it better than Two Human?
I don't know.
Or what's that?
X-Men Academy.
X-Men shit pile? Yeah.
Yeah. Oof. This is a pretty big one here. 15 years ago, Deus Ex on the PC.
Wow.
I know. And 15 years ago, Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards.
Underrated.
Yeah, I was a pretty big Kirby fan. I thought the game was too short, even though it was actually kind of short for even a Kirby game.
Yeah. I know it got blasted in reviews when it came out.
Wow.
So I didn't buy it when I was a kid. Because even Nintendo Power only gave it a 7, which in Nintendo Power speak, that means a 2 normally.
Right.
But I picked up a used copy a few years ago for like $1, and I just played through the whole thing in a Saturday afternoon. I was like, oh, that was nice.
Yeah, when it came out, though, it's kind of like, Kirby's finally coming to the 64. Oh, my God. Yeah. And it was like, well, it's cool that if you eat electricity and ice, you turn to a fridge.
Oh, yeah. If 12-year-old me would have paid like $60 for that, I would have been pissed. But, old 20-something Steve paying $1 at a flea market is fine with it.
18 fucking years ago, I don't know why I'm swearing now, Mischief Makers was released in Japan.
Super underrated game.
I love that game. Very hard, but very
Developed
fun.
by Treasure, I believe. Makers of Gunstar Heroes?
That is correct.
All right.
19 years ago, the Nintendo 64 launched in Japan.
Wow.
Yes, on June 22nd. Craziness. Also, some game 19 years ago, Quake. I don't know what that is.
Never heard of it.
Quake. Oh, no. I'm sure it has its pros and cons. And 24 years ago, we gotta go fast. Sonic the Hedgehog was released. June 23rd, 1991. I'm not a big fan of the original Sonic the Hedgehog, but I like Sonic 2, 3, and Sonic & Knuckles, Sonic CD. I like a lot of them.
Yeah, I think that's like the nucleus of good Sonic. After that, they lose me.
Yeah. Steve, where can people reach you on the internet?
You can reach me on Twitter, at Steve Cuff. That's Cuff spelled C-U-F-F, no spaces, any of that business.
See you, friendly face.
See you, friendly face. You can go to optimismvaccine.com, where we have awesome articles about weird pop culture, retro, bizarro shit. All the dirty nooks and crannies of the pop culture landscape from the past 50 years.
Yeah.
I do YouTube videos on YouTube. You can check those out. I do 60-second movie reviews. There's some video game stuff. Also on ShepherdExpress.com, we have a column that comes out every week. You can read that.
That's awesome. Go to Shepherd Express, listen to the Outbackcast.
Oh, yeah, the Outbackcast podcast. Go on iTunes, listen to it if you like my sweet, sultry voice, and make sure you rate us and write a review and stuff so more people can find us.
Oh, good call there. Hey, give the PRESSURECAST 5 stars and tell everybody I'm Jesus. Just do that. Give it 5 stars. Go do it right now. You didn't do it? Do it now. You can check out videogameswithdumb.com, which I wouldn't recommend right now. Working on it.
Which I wouldn't recommend.
I wouldn't recommend. I reset the template.
Do you like Squarespace splash pages?
It's really bad right now, but I'm totally changing the format of the website, just to do something a bit different. This week, Batman Arkham Knight first hour is definitely going up. I'll be doing one probably Monday night, Tuesday morning, so that'll be up for Tuesday. And hopefully I'll play through that game and review it. I really hope to review that game. I'm not sure how much content there's going to be. Check out my opinions on what was the best and the worst of E3, because I'm the only person on the internet writing that article right now. You can check that out at shepherdexpress.com. Other than that, whatever. Dr. Karate Chop on Twitter, at Dr. Karate Chop, or PRESSURECAST Pod on Twitter. Lots of people are sending me PlayStation Network friend invites. And I gotta tell you kids, you gotta send me a message. Some of the people send me a message, I approve it right away. You don't send me a message, I'm not approving it. You gotta let me know where you know me from. I don't know if you're some idiot that I killed in a multiplayer session and you want revenge, you know?
It's a lizard squad coming to get you, Colin.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's gonna do it for this episode of the PRESSURECAST. Steve, thank you so much for
thanks for having me.
All right, excellent. And please, do send those requests and become my friend. But friendship eventually ends when someone stabs each other in the back over a large sum of money. So that's sad, but fear not. For the PRESSURECAST is forever. PRESSURECAST, weekly video game news podcast, is solely owned and operated by Colin Tanner. Guests of the PRESSURECAST are not employees or freelancers of Colin Tanner, the PRESSURECAST, or VideoGamesAreDumb.com, and are not paid. Music featured on the PRESSURECAST is property of their respective owners, and no infringement is intended. For more information, email pressurecast@gmail.com.